My brother and I, we pay tuition at this school. We carry a 3.9 GPA at this school. We've won trophies for this school, and we'll be rowing in the Olympics for this school. I want a meeting with the goddamn president of this school.
The twins you may remember from that movie, The Social Network, are in real life making a fortune, doubling down on an internet investment that, let's just say, defies an easy explanation. Contributor Nicholas Thompson, who's also editor-in-chief of Wired magazine, helps make sense of it.
Thank you so much.
Their names are Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, identical twins and Olympic athletes.
Mark?
Famously portrayed in the film The Social Network.
Cameron Winklevoss. Hi. Tyler Winklevoss.
You guys related?
It's good. Funny. We never heard that before.
As a privileged pair of handsome Harvard jocks who believe Mark Zuckerberg stole their idea for Facebook.
He stole our website.
Those characters are interesting, but they're not really us.
They were a bit stiff and maybe not full-dimensional.
The Winklevoss twins are back in the spotlight again.
We probably bought our first Bitcoin within a block of here.
This time as very successful investors in Bitcoin, having turned their $65 million Facebook settlement into many hundreds of millions of dollars.
If you believe that Bitcoin is the beginning of the internet of money, you can actually buy a piece of it. Anybody in the world can. And there's tons of people who have made a lot buying a piece of that future.
And there's a nearly equal amount who have lost a lot.
Ben Mesrick wrote the book that The Social Network was based on. A decade later, news that the Winklevoss twins had gambled big and won, investing in Bitcoin, got his attention.
It made me start to think that they weren't at the helm of two revolutions by accident.
For him, the Winklevoss' second act was too good to pass up.
They're Greek gods, essentially. They've got everything anyone could think one would need. Why don't they just roll off into the sunset?
Indeed, the Winklevi did seem to have everything. Pretty girls, private planes, invitations to all the best parties. Why did two guys, Olympic athletes raised in Greenwich, Connecticut, educated at Harvard and Oxford, gamble it all on something as slippery and nearly incomprehensible as Bitcoin? As Ben Mesrick sees it, because of Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, all over again.
They go out to Silicon Valley to become venture capitalists, and nobody wants their money because everyone's end game is to sell your company to Facebook. Right. And because Zuckerberg hates the Winklevoss twins so much, that becomes an impossibility. So they head to Ibiza, as one does, right? Someone walks up to them and pitches the idea of Bitcoin.
Yes, the Mediterranean island of Ibiza, playground of the rich and famous. The year is 2012.
Set the scene. Where exactly are you?
During the day.
Shorts or pants?
Probably shorts. It's the beach.
So, you're in Ibiza. Somebody tells you about this thing. Currency that can be sent like email. It's all based on math. You don't have to trust a banker or a president. You just have to trust the code. And then you make a big decision, which is to buy 1% of all of the Bitcoins in the world.
You know, some people, they might dive off a diving board. I think in this case, we took a cannonball off the diving board.
Both of you at the same time. Yeah. What was the price then?
I think our first Bitcoin was in the high single digits.
That's $8 or $9 a coin. It's now trading about $9,000, though that is down from $20,000 at its peak. And I should say, I don't invest in it, and I would tell my mom not to invest in it either.
Our thesis at the time was Bitcoin's going to disrupt gold. And gold has a market cap of $7 trillion today. So if Bitcoin's going to be worth $7 trillion or more, this seems like a cheap asset.
A cheap asset being sold on a place where people sell magic cards,
right,
as opposed to in a bank.
It was complete Wild West.
The Wild West. Currency free of government oversight or regulation. The perfect place for all kinds of illicit behavior.
It's a bunch of people who are anarchists, who want to smash the state, whose identities aren't known, who are selling drugs, right? Your early business partner goes to jail for multiple years.
That's exactly what informed us on what not to do and what had to change.
You say you still don't understand Bitcoin? Don't worry, you're not alone.
It's hard to digest it all at once.
Let's take some bites and let's digest them.
Yeah.
So, when you literally buy a Bitcoin, what have you bought?
You're buying a piece in the Bitcoin ledger that represents a fixed digital asset. So it's like buying a bar of gold, but there's no physical component to it.
So you're buying a bar of gold, but it's not a bar of gold, it's just a bunch of numbers. So there's a giant ledger,
right,
it's worth a certain amount of money that changes over time.
Exactly.
The twins point out that most people don't know how the internet works, but we all use it.
This is money that works like your email, and that was the aha moment for us.
Money that works like your email, easy to use, fast. Sounds pretty great, doesn't it?
I think I turned to Tyler and said, hey, this is either the next big thing or total BS.
Was there a moment in the Wild West period where you guys looked at each other and said, what are we doing? Let's just get out and go back to what most of the people from Greenwich and Harvard are doing, which is working at a hedge fund instead of betting on this crazy stuff.
So I think instead of looking at it and saying, let's get out, we said, let's get in more. And that's when we started to found Gemini.
You guys bought coffee with the app, right?
Yeah, we literally walked into a Starbucks.
Getting the average person excited about Bitcoin is one of the aims of Gemini, the cryptocurrency exchange the brothers run.
They asked, is it Apple Pay? And I was like, no, it's better.
Their offices occupy 50,000 square feet on New York's Park Avenue South, where some 200 employees are working hard to make Bitcoin as easy to buy and sell as possible.
So let's buy some Bitcoin.
All right, let's do it.
So I'll open up my phone.
And though there are other Bitcoin exchanges with more traffic than Gemini, the brothers hope their app will encourage regular people to get their feet wet.
Bitcoin looks like it's up 1% today. Let's buy it. I'll buy $10 Bitcoin. Continue. Swipe up to place order. All right.
Look at that.
I got some Bitcoin. All right, let's sell this. Sell my max.
Of course, there are lots of risks
Sold it for
and
$7.92.
fees.
Man, I lost $2.08 with you guys.
You should have helped.
Later this week, the twins' old nemesis, Facebook, will announce a cryptocurrency launch of its own called Libra.
Do you feel like they're copying you?
I don't know, we haven't seen what they're doing.
The brothers say they're not worried.
There's so much pie to grow. I mean, at this point, we need to be frenemies.
But Facebook has entered a lot of markets with pie to grow, and usually it eats the pie.
I think this pie is different.
One possible scenario with Facebook would be they come in and they change things in a way that hurts Gemini, but that also validates things and drives the price of Bitcoin way up. So you guys lose your company, but make a ton more money. How does that feel?
We'll have to.
We should hire you to come in and wargame with us.
As to how it's all going to play out, we may just have to wait for the next movie.